SSBM rank is happening right now, and of course, a lot of people will be happy, upset, most likely upset because in the world of rank engineering, IT, I don't know, cleaning out the garbage, you're not really appreciated unless something wrong happens. So, I would say most of the ranks are pretty good. I would say that they're within like 5 or 10 placements of where I think they would be, with a few exceptions. But one of the common fallacies I get, and one of the things that people are upset about is, well, this player beat out his ranking and his placements at the big majors this year. Why is he ranked so low? This in particular came in light of DJ Nintendo, who got 25th, I believe, at all the U.S. majors. So Apex, CEO, Evo, and Big House. So he did end up getting 25th. Those are pretty good placements, and it really stood out to people that he got 41st. So just a few things that I want to really just emphasize. First, the 5 tournaments listed were there just intentionally to highlight some of the bigger tournaments, and I put those 5 tournaments because they represented different regions. Those were some of the tournaments that people consider to be big ones, and also include DreamHack so that we can add in some European flavor to that. But there were, hundreds of other tournaments in the year. There were probably about 20 to 25 majors. You can toss in like a good chunk of regionals and locals. So those 5 tournaments that you see on the little blurb doesn't represent the whole year. But that's aside from my main point. I won't put anyone on blast. So we'll use myself as an example here. So people say, well, if you get top 64 at this tournament, you should be top 64 in the world. Or if you got 49th at this tournament, you should be 49th in the world because you went to the biggest tournament. So I just want to address some of those fallacies there. So we'll look at my personal performances. I'm not going to put anyone else on blast. So we look at Apex. I made bracket. I believe bracket was good for 33rd. And people will say, well, like, Tafo, after that tournament, you are 33rd. But if you look at my bracket, so if you look at the first fallacy there, 33rd means top 48. It doesn't mean 33rd. So that's fallacy number 1. Fallacy number 2. Just because it's a big tournament doesn't mean all the top players in the world are there. You can look at any big tournament, and even with just the top 100 from last year's list, normally there's about like 25 people missing. So chances are there's probably like 10 to 15 people at least that aren't there that were ranked higher than me on SSBM rank. So toss in 10 to 15 extra people there. And so my 33rd looks like top 48. Toss in 20 other people in there, and that's probably like a 68th to 70th or whatever performance. But then you look at my bracket. I forget who I beat in winners. I lost to Kells. I beat Eisengo Bay, which is a decent win. I beat Mad.Zeb, and then I believe, did I lose to Cole? I lost to Larry in losers for 33rd. So I had no top 100 wins. I didn't do very good. It's not a top 50 performance. Let's move on to CEO. CEO 2015, I didn't really do much. I beat double eliminated Dark Rain. I don't know who else I beat. Dark Rain is a top 60 level player. And then I lost to Cobalt and the Moon. So would people say I'm top 32 after that? No, I am not a top 32 player. CEO had a bunch of people missing. And I have nothing to show other than the fact I beat Dark Rain. Evo 2015, I beat None, who was ranked higher than me, and I beat Soft. I might have beaten some other people here and there, and then I lost to Armada, and I lost to Reno. And they're both ranked higher than me, but overall, like, I got top 64. Probably not a great performance, to be honest. And so, just because you get a certain placing doesn't mean that you are ranked that high, or that you deserve to be ranked that high. It's all about who you beat and who you lose to. And if you look at all my majors performances, you may look at my profile and say, well, I beat top 64 at all the majors this year. Why am I ranked 80th? And I just gave you a perfect explanation to why. Because I didn't beat anyone. My bracket placings were fraudulent. And I just wish that people, kind of looked a little bit deeper. And in certain cases, it might be true. Like, if you got like first at every single tournament and somehow you got like eighth on SSBM rank, then there's probably something wrong, and that's something that you should investigate. So, and not in all cases, I think placements are a good indicator to see if something's fishy. But on most cases, if you research who they've beaten and who they've lost to, it tells more of a bigger story of why a player deserves this certain rank. In the case of DJ, thanks to Dubious on Reddit, he got 25th at Apex. He made it free into bracket because of his points. Lost to Mango, beat Blayajello, lost to Shroomed. So it doesn't really tell us much. He beat Blayajello, decent win. At CEO, he lost to MacD and Gatsu, beat Arc once again, roughly where we'd expect him to be a top 50 level player would perform. Evo 2015 loses to Zoom, beats Connor, Cactar, and Vish, loses to Lucky. Once again, we don't really know much about his performance. And then finally at Big House 5, he loses to Plup, beats Fly Amanita, but loses to KGH. So I actually think that 41st for DG Nintendo, despite hitting 25th at all these big tournaments, is actually pretty fair, considering his big win is against Fly. He also beat Duck at Combo Breaker this year, but he's had a lot of losses to people that are worse than him as well. And so this kind of leads me to my next point. So many people say, like, oh, this player beat a player better than him, and as a result, he deserves a better placing. And it's kind of funny. And the case that Dart keeps like honing in on is that Dart beat SFAT and Wizroom, and that's a common argument from the Midwest. Those are pretty good wins, but then SFAT won, when they ran the run back at Evo, and then Wizroom won in losers to eliminate Dart. So it's kind of misleading to also say that, oh, like, I beat this player, so I should be ranked higher than him. But then when we really look at the win-loss records, like, how often do you beat him, or do you lose most of the time? And the common example I could give for myself is in 2014, when I was playing a lot at SoCal Locals, I could say, well, I beat Johnny, Lucky, Westballs, Hugs, MacD. I should be top 30 in the world. But in reality, they all have soul-crushing records against me, where I was like, I think like 4-7 against West or something really bad, and it only got worse. Against SCJ, I was like 1-6. Lucky like destroyed me every time. I only beat MacD once out of like 4 tries. So it's like really misleading, and I hate that people use like wins as a justification to be ranked higher, especially in the case where either A, they play each other all the time and you're bound to win one, or B, you just have a losing record against people better than you, and it's really misleading. And it's also funny when people say, well, I should have been ranked higher, and then you say, well, like, you lost to Eichelman or you lost to this guy, and you have a bunch of bad losses. So just because you have a big win doesn't mean that you deserve a higher rank. I mean, I think in that case, everybody technically deserves number 1, because everybody beats people better than them. That's just the reality of Melee. And in order to maintain your rank, just in my opinion, you need to have like several wins. You need to have like winning records against people better than you, or else there isn't really much reason. I guess some other fallacies, the counter argument to what I'm saying is, well, there are people on the list that are ranked very high and don't deserve it. And honestly, I would totally agree. I think that there are certain European players, and there are certain players that live off of name brand alone that have carried them for years. And so I would say those are the exception to the rule. I don't think Over Triforce deserved his rank. Android may have been ranked a little high. Tech may have been ranked a little high. But I think those are more the exception to the rule, to see those anomalies. Whereas, like, for the most part, the rankings stay pretty consistent from what I've seen. So overall, those are just some of my, I guess, things that I want to get off my chest in regards to perception, rank, and just all the things I've been seeing on social media that have been kind of silly. And so this is my little video for it.